we also used the 8-minute video. Creative Time put it in on the MTV billboard in Times Square. But this one you just saw, we actually had it as a preview at Sunshine. So if you went to movies in April last year, this was between movies at the Sunshine Theater. So that was the 1-minute version, and like I said, the 8-minute version is at the Modern in the lobby right now. So, and then I just thought, this is the sweet part of this. It was such a serendipitous, video. We made it strictly just shooting between takes in the Mac ad, and then Mac paid for all of the, everything. They were really very gracious about it. They didn't know we were doing it, but once they found out, they didn't get mad. They were really nice. And so then somebody sent the video to Madonna, and she was then I got a phone call saying, how much would you charge, if Madonna wanted to use this in her tour, Sticky and Sweet. And I said, well, how much does Madonna want me to pay her? And so anyway, she bought it. Well, it took a while because I guess she sat on it for a while and was playing with it, and she really designs this every second of the tour. But the next thing I know, I got, like one morning, I got this big thing of flowers and delivered to my house, and I was joking with my assistant. I said, "Oh, these are from Madonna," and they were. And then I got tickets, and we went to London to see the premiere because she changed the tour, and she put this as the backdrop for the first song's Candy Shop, and she paid me. So here's a quick off of YouTube. This is just a quick. So we just cut that out to show you all. And that was, a nice way. This had its own life, this video, and it was really, really fun. Same thing sort of happened with this next body of work. This is the artist Spangashi Mutu, and she wanted me to document her pregnancy. We'd been friends for a while, and she was pregnant, and I was, we learned this when we were shooting to... if we mixed vodka with this food coloring, we could get this gold sort of paint that's not, it wouldn't kill you. And but she's pregnant, so she had to keep spitting it out. But she was really game, and we played around with it. And I should show you, these are the photos I took of her. I also documented her pregnancy, and she took the documentation of her pregnant, and made collages out of it. So this was the last body of work. I'm still these are giant paintings, totally made up, totally different from the photos themselves. And I think we're coming towards the thing nobody's seen yet, so you're going to be the first. This new body of work I'm doing is, I've been playing with that material, the silver mixed with vodka, and this is wallpaper that Maharam is doing. And these are some of the stills from it. And then I'm shooting these right now. I just finished shooting these. These are the new photographs I'm doing. And these are going to be the new paintings, and these are going to be 10 feet. And I'm just shooting, I'm using the glass still, but shooting, both focusing. I'm trying to create a kind of depth with this glass, but this is really about 70 different layers. This is like all day long to make these now. But we're starting to paint. This is 15 by 9, and that's it.
Perfect. Well, fantastic job, Marilyn, as always. I'm Greg Miller, and first I just want to say thanks to the Strand for hosting this evening, and for making the celebration of art books generally, and tonight Marilyn's book possible. I'm going to turn this over to questions from all of you in just a few minutes, but I thought you might be interested to hear a few words about how this book first came about. Then I'll ask Marilyn a couple questions, and then, as I said, the floor is open, and as you might suspect from some of Marilyn's images, no holds barred with your questions. Ask whatever you'd like. I started this art book publishing company about 7-8 years ago, and not long after I started it, I was interested in doing a monograph on Marilyn's work because she had no book really of any sort, let alone a retrospective monograph. And Marilyn's work I had known for a good 15+ years. We in fact met about a dozen years ago when we were both together, and still are, on the board of White Columns, a great arts organization here in the city. And Marilyn and I first talked about this as we were sitting together at the same table for an opening of a Mary Heilman show. And Mary Heilman is a good friend of Marilyn's, and in the book is a wonderful and very, very revealing conversation about both of those artists.
And she's here tonight.
between the two. And Marilyn said, that sounds fantastic, let's do a book. And we did indeed work for a couple years to put the book together. The first edition came out in 2007, and as Christina indicated, it didn't take long for that book to sell out, partly because it coincided with a rather meteoric rise in the attention that Marilyn, and importantly Marilyn's work, was getting both in the year leading up to the publication of the book and in the years afterwards. That book is now sold out, and it's not often that art book publishers decide to do a second edition like the one we've done, which is not simply a reprint. We decided to do what we're referring to as a new and expanded edition, because it really is an expanded edition. And as you've seen in some of these images, we thought, I certainly think, that the work that Marilyn has done over the last 3 years, in other words, over the course of time since the first book, really continues to just propel her career forward, as well as continues her tradition of breakthroughs in her own practice, as well as in ways we think about what contemporary art is, what a painting is, what sort of things can paintings be about. So that's why you've got this book here with a huge set of new images that really bring Marilyn's story once again up to date and helps us tell it more completely. But there are few artists as active as Marilyn, so I'm expecting we'll have reasons to do expanded books in the not so distant future. So with that, Marilyn, I would like to ask you, now that you've gone through the process of making 2 books and the choices that go into the design as well as the selection of images in those books, what have you learned about your career or your work or your practice through having worked on and made these books?
Well, when you have no books, and then you have choices of 2 books, and then to try and find the very best, images, it was really just a pleasure, because I got to work off of what's going well in my life. So I had an embarrassment of riches, like, to choose from, instead of, just trying to get a bunch of images together. To make a book. We had, in the last few years, when I've had such a great support system and great dealers and a great publisher, that I've been making my best work. So, it's not that people, I really think it's not that unusual, because, an artist's career is not necessarily just this really short period of time, and female artists especially seem to blossom after a certain age. I don't know why, but I've had this, a million more ideas, and I'm growing from support, and I'm able to do the things that I'm able to concretize these ideas that have been floating around like images just in my head. Does that answer?
Indeed. Yeah, and in the book, as some of you may know, there are 20 questions, which is a project that Matthew Higgs, who's actually the director of White Columns, put together for Marilyn. And it's a range of questions from 20 of Marilyn's friends and various art world and other cultural folks who know or know of Marilyn. And while they're very revealing questions, 20 questions is only a few. And if there was a question you were hoping to be asked in that project, Marilyn, what might it have been that wasn't asked?
And there wasn't any. There were some questions that weren't that pleasant to answer.
What questions surprised you then?
I think it was Jerry, something about sexuality. Well, probably, and then Jack Pearson said, "Do you love your mother?" This is such a brilliant way to to have, it's not an academic writing. It's like, they would never ask those questions. That information wouldn't be in anybody's book. Matthew created this 20 questions that are so personal. I don't think most people would be able to ask those kinds of questions that are working in terms of academia, don't you think? It's pretty,
I think you're right about
pretty
that.
Revealing. Do you love your mother? That's such a loaded question. Jerry's, did you get off on visual porn? What's your favorite type of porn and why? What artists use porn in ways that are interesting and why? What artists use porn in ways that are not interesting and why? Great, Jerry.
You have to buy the book to get the answer. Great. Well, speaking of books, Marilyn is a great reader herself. What books, art books or otherwise, have you read recently, Marilyn, that you've liked?
I read the most delicious book. It's just the best book. I recommend it. It's called Pop by Tony Shearman and somebody Dalton, and it's about Andy Warhol. And it's just a read you cannot put down. It's so insightful, such a pleasure. I recommend it, but I'm always reading. I'm voracious like you.
Great. Well, with that, I'll turn it over to questions from the crowd. And Christina, who introduced the event this evening, does have a microphone that she'll bring around to people who do have questions. And we'll do this for the next 15 minutes or so.
Well, there aren't any, huh?
I have a question. Have you ever painted? Have you ever made a painting based on a random photograph of yours, or all of your work, all of your painting based on the images that you've staged in the studio?
Well, that's interesting. A random. It's like when I'm shooting, I'm sometimes surprised when I get the negs back because I get in the zone. So all of a sudden I went, whoa, I don't remember taking that. So in a way, that's a random image. Well, this is a short question answer. Oh, there's one.
Hi. I was in your class at SVA back in '89.
You look familiar.
Okay. And that was back when Soho still existed, so when we would go out for lunch, you'd say, oh, go down and see this show, and then come back and we'll talk about it, which was great. And then one thing that you used to always say to us was, if you could take the $20 to buy the catalog, do it, and we did. So I have a huge collection now, so I think it's great that I'm back here at the Strand amongst books when you kind of started my collection back then.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I started buying, I've got such a collection of catalogs. I started when I was 21. It's just such a treat. I love art books. I think this gentleman